Here comes the write up, the letter of advice. Let's have a look at the question. Your friend Brian is not going to further his studies in Hong Kong next year, which means Brian won't be studying in Hong Kong anymore. But now he is in a dilemma. 兩難局面. Why? Because he cannot decide whether he should continue his studies in mainland China. So this is option A. Or in a foreign country. This is option B. And what you have to do, please pay attention to the following 3 points. The first one you need to do is to write a letter of reply. And for this reply, you need to advise Brian choose to study in mainland China, which means you can't ask Brian to study in Australia or Canada or the US. You have to ask him to study in mainland China. And in your body paragraph, you need to give 3 reasons to support your choice. Why study in China is a better choice for him. Then you need to write the letter of advice and no less than 350 words. So, before you do the write-up, let me show you how to brainstorm the ideas. And I would like you to use the techniques of comparison. I would like you to compare studying on the mainland with studying in a foreign or English-speaking country. Make a comparison between them. However, as the questions ask you to study in China, that's why you need to talk about the positive side of studying on the mainland, then to talk about the negative side of studying in an English-speaking country. And you need to think of a point for comparison. 你係要諗一個比較點. Let me provide you with one example. Maybe the comparison is language barrier. Language barrier 語言障礙. So let's talk about the positive side of study on mainland. Do you think you will have a language barrier? Of course, you won't have language barrier. Why? Because you can choose to study in Guangdong Province, okay, that's why you can still use Cantonese for communication. However, if you study in a foreign country, do you think you have a language barrier? Of course, you have a language barrier. Why? Because English will become the major or only means of communication. Do you think you can still interact with foreigners effectively if you have bad English? So, if you have I don't want to use bad, maybe you can use superb English. Your interaction with foreigners will be impeded. So, the comparison point 1 is language barrier. And in your paragraph, I would like you to talk about the disadvantages of studying in a foreign country. Like studying in a foreign country, you would have a language barrier because English will become the major or only means of communication. If you have poor English, your interaction with foreigners will be impeded. And then you use the following patterns. However, if you choose to study on the mainland, you won't have a language barrier because you can choose to study in Guangdong province. And then you may give examples such as Shenzhen, right? Then you can still use Cantonese for communication. There won't be any language difficulties. So you can see how you can form the topic sentence, the comparison point, and how you can elaborate on the topic sentence. And remember, we use however, nevertheless, nonetheless, on the other hand, despite this, in spite of this, to show comparison. Got it? Okay, then